Media recognition from Bloomberg, Reuters, recycling trade publications. Patented process for 100% recovery of critical metals, including cobalt, lithium, nickel, manganese, aluminum. American Manganese is focused on recycling lithium-ion batteries for electric vehicles. American Manganese trades on the TSX Venture, AMY, the US, AMYZF, and Frankfurt 2AM. For more information, visit AmericanManganeseInc.com or phone me, Larry Ray, at 778-574-4444.
You're listening to HowStreet.com radio, available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. Welcome to HowStreet.com radio, the online source for market opinions. Here is Jim Goddard.
My guest is Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as VRTrader.com. Welcome back to the show, Mark.
Glad to be back, Jim. Thank you.
Mark, do we have a special offer for our listeners?
Let's do the 50% off again. For the newsletters, it would be promo code would be 2021 half off, 2021 HALFOFF. That's for any subscription for any length of time. So not going to keep it forever, but we got it. So I guess we'll keep it this year. So thank you very much for mentioning it.
Mark, what's going on with gold right now?
Acting really sloppy. And part of me, isn't too surprised. We've talked about this for months, actually. In my February presentation in Vancouver, I said, could we see 1,500 before you see the big numbers to the upside? And, gold bugs didn't like hearing that. It's really been underperforming here. And it's funny because right now you're in a cyclical time frame where you usually get a little bounce and a nice little rally. And I would have, bet that we would have at least got up to 1880 U.S., maybe 1900 here, just on a little seasonal bounce. And then it just doesn't seem to get out of its own way. And the problem I have is, beyond this time frame, I don't know. I mean, there may be another collapse coming. I hope I'm wrong. And if I'm right, it'll be 1,500, 1,400, or even 1,350. So hopefully we can break out here and see some upside volume. Certainly there's a lot of the shares that seem to be coming off bottoms, and it looks encouraging. So I'm sort of trying to give it the benefit of the doubt, but time sort of works against us here. Another thing is you got a strong stock market, which is fooling me a little bit, I'll be honest with you. I mean, my work called for a big sell-off into mid to third week of July, a little bounce, and then a big slam to the downside coming into the end of the year. And I may be, off on that. It's like the old weatherman forecast. You do your cyclical analysis, but you want the technical short-term indicators to confirm, and it looks like you get a little top, you sell off for a day. I mean, look at the Dow Industrials on Wednesday. It was down 330 points, now it's up 290 the next day. It's like the news is controlling, and one day something bad's happening. Oh, no, it's not happening anymore. We're okay. It's so it's almost like the market's being engineered to stay higher for political and economic reasons, and if that continues to be the case, you got the plunge protection team in there and everybody. I could be dead wrong, and if we break out again here, I mean, you could see the S&P, up to 5,000 or 5,400 by the end of the year, which would be the inverse of my cyclical forecast. But you don't want to fight the tape. So, that might be the big blow off if it gets up there by the end of the year. So anyway, with the stock market holding up, gold is underperforming here, less reasons to be in it. And, I'm looking at the chart on silver in particular, and, that $19 area looks awfully, magnetic to me, like it wants to get down there again. And maybe if it gets down to 19, that might be a nice trade. No guarantees, but the chart says it could do it. So let's see if it does. That might be a big trade buy point. It might not happen between now. It may happen toward the end of the year, particularly if stocks go up. So, I guess you hold some gold. I mean, I'm not telling you to sell all your gold. We're talking trading and short to near term forecasts. So, underperforming here. I wouldn't be surprised if we see further weakness in it. And that's sort of where I'm at.
What's happening with copper?
Well, we had a huge run up, and everybody, not everybody, but the plan was that with the infrastructure and everything else going on, there's no way copper, come down just like when we saw the big run up in lumber, and then we started to get a correction here, and I'm sort of on the fence a little bit. We had a nice shake. It looks like it's trying to recover here, and I guess if the stock market moves, the same forces that are with the stock market could drive copper right back up again. But at the moment, it looks to me like we had a big top, a pullback, and now we're getting like a little dead cat bounce. So I'm not jumping all over it. I mean, we've had a huge move. I mean, you have stocks like Freeport, McMoran that went from 5 to 45. You know what I mean? So I think a lot of the anticipation of infrastructure and growth and everything is sort of built into these prices. And again, it looked like a sort of a blow off to me. Back in April, May, when copper sort of topped out. I guess that's when lumber topped out and everything else topped out. And then you got the other factor with the U.S. dollar, not conforming here. It's still showing some relative strength. So commodities could be in trouble.
What about the battery-related materials, lithium, cobalt, nickel?
Everybody loves them. A lot of them are strong. I don't want to fight the tape on it, but fundamentally, you're bullish. For all the reasons that we know, because long term, that's the strategy. They're all, they're doing very well. Lithium stocks, I'm looking at virtually or at their highs. So I guess, we got to look at each market individually and can't tie other markets together. I hate to chase it here. Lithium plays, they're already way up, but they're still in an uptrend. So if we get a little pullback in them, that would be a buy. If you're long them, I guess, stay with them. Everybody still wants Teslas and they want the EVs, and, particularly with crude oil still hanging in there to the upside, hasn't really come down. There's still impetus to consider an electric vehicle.
Of course, when I take a look at EVs, not a lot of people drive them, but governments are starting to mandate them. It takes 300 pounds of copper, 136 kilos, to make an average electric vehicle. Do we have enough metal to get these things on the road?
And also, we talked about this before too, about the electricity to power these things up. We're talking, 10, 20 year, forecast here about us getting rid of the gasoline engine on the road, supposedly. But do we have the infrastructure to supply the electricity? And, we're finding out that those who don't want, natural gas or crude oil are finding that, suddenly they're very expensive and we need these to produce these electric vehicles and, other environmental projects. So, the trend is up. Obviously if we get a big market correction like we saw last March, whether it's COVID related or some other outlier event, everything comes down. Gold, everything comes down, copper comes down, lithium comes down just because of liquidity and people have to raise cash. So barring that type of situation, and we are going to get a bear market at some point. I mean, things don't go forever no matter what they tell you. So there's going to be a blow off and one hell of a correction at some point, and they're all going to come down. But I guess just making a fundamental statement, I mean, they're great long-term plays. I don't like chasing stuff. I'm not in them right now, and if we get correction, I probably will be.
We'll have more with Mark Leibovit right after this.
Engineer Gold Mines is focused on the exploration and development of the historic high-grade Engineer Gold Mine situated 32 kilometers southwest of Atlin, British Columbia. Engineer Gold Mines is fully permitted for surface and underground exploration with the drill program now underway. Engineer Gold Mines Limited trades on the TSX Venture Exchange, symbol EAU. For more information, please visit us at engineergoldmines.com.
Don't miss out. Stay informed. Receive the HowStreet.com weekly recap with thought-provoking podcasts, radio, and articles delivered to your inbox. Sign up for the HowStreet.com weekly recap on our homepage at HowStreet.com.
Welcome back. We're speaking with Mark Leibovit. Mark, have you been following this story about Robinhood, their IPO? They dropped a bit, and then over the last few days, a 100% gain. Are they the same kind of mugs game that they've promoted in the past?
Well, it's hot. It's like another industry, the crypto industry. Stock like Coinbase, COIN, which is a big home for a lot of people to buy and trade cryptos. It's just a hot area. It's really funny because the first day, ticker symbol HOOD, HOOD, and the first day it was trading, all the commentators that I was listening to were saying, "Oh, this is an underperforming new issue. It really didn't do that great today, or whatever." And that was like the first day or two it was trading when it was in the 30s. And I was saying to myself, "Gee, why don't they like it? Maybe there's a lot of pressure against Robinhood because it's competition to the big boys on the street." Well, sure enough, 2 days later it takes off big, and now it had a big correction in trading today, and then it got up to $84 and sold down to $51. Filling a gap on the chart. I'm looking at it here. It has been a growing area. They do a lot of business, and a lot of people follow them. And it's like the Coinbase and the crypto area. It's just an area where I think they're going to do a lot of business, and the stock is probably a trade here. After it had the big run up, I guess if it settles back down into the mid 40s or so, which is not too far from where it closed. It probably seems okay, but the problem with technical analysis is I only got 5-6 days of data because that's as long as the stock has been trading. And usually to make a good technical call, you need to have a lot more data on the screen. But just, my gut feeling is it's a hot area. It's going to be a hot stock. There's still a lot of people that play it, and there's going to be some nice trades in this thing to the upside. So we're just watching it, and I wish I was in on the IPO, but I wasn't.
Anything happening on the cannabis front?
Not much. The charts are still sloppy. I mean, they look cheap. They look like they're down, and I guess long term, it's like the same thing. How long, are you going to be patient with them? Everybody was thinking that the Democrats are coming in, and they're going to change the law, and it's going to be, it's going to be paradise for the cannabis stocks, but I think that's all been discounted in their price. Honestly, most of them, they're doing business anyway, whether a federal, U.S. federal guideline is changed. I think, the American names have been doing good anyway. What can I say? You gotta trade them. I mean, there are a couple names out there that have been, standouts that have been doing really well. If you're in the right ones, like one name, IIPR, which is Innovative Industrial. I hesitated for a second. I mean, the stock, I think, made a new all-time high today, around $230 a share. What they do is they lease, it's like a REIT. They lease space and rent it to cannabis growers, and it pays a dividend. And this thing seems to always go up or stay up. So it's like a niche that has found a niche for itself and has done really well. I can't find too many cannabis stocks or related cannabis stocks into new all-time highs, and that's one that just stands out. I'm sure there's a couple others in the new psychedelic area. That's been the hot area. A lot of the cannabis players have migrated into psychedelic stocks. O'Leary from Shark Tank, for example, got involved in this stock called MindMed. I think it's MNMD, if I'm not mistaken, on the symbol. It's not roaring to the upside, but this seems to be, I get all this literature from the cannabis researchers, and they say, look at the psychedelic stocks. So it seems like the hot players have moved over to psychedelics versus cannabis. And the bottom line is you got to pick them. Grow Generation, GRWG, which we don't have. We have it in our big portfolio for the cannabis group to watch that. Grow is a grower. It doesn't have to be cannabis, but they sell a lot of growing supplies. That stock's held up pretty well. So there's some like specific names here and there, like I just mentioned, but the whole group doesn't seem to want to get off its rear end and move here. So I'm watching it, but I mean there is like a core portfolio that we monitor in our VR Cannabis or Canna Research letter. But there aren't too many standouts, and they are cheap. But I'm waiting for some real confirmation that the big move is happening. I think people are too excited about crypto They're too excited about the big name stocks that are moving, the big NASDAQ names. They've been distracted away from cannabis. If you remember when cannabis was running, it seemed to be like the only game in town at the time. There was like nothing really exciting happening in the market, and everybody jumped into the cannabis group because that seemed like a real hot, like gold stocks. It just was a hot niche. Anyway, that's the story. We just have to wait.
What's going on with Bitcoin?
I like it. Everybody hates it. The chart says it's trying to bottom. There's a gap down there. I like to see one more big sell-off to 18,000, which would have been one hell of a buy. I'm not saying it can't happen. It seems like it bottomed already. Ethereum has been doing better than the Bitcoin. It's still well off its highs. It's coming off low and it's moving up. So it looks interesting. So I like Ethereum a little bit better than Bitcoin. But there's so many bears on the Bitcoin. I just can't help but think those are making the big picture projections like 100,000, 500,000. They may be correct, and it might be 2-3 years down the line.
Anything happening geo-cosmically?
Yeah, we've got the annual meteor shower. Maybe you can help me with the name of it.
Perseid.
Yeah, the Perseid, right. I'm going to write it up in my letter tonight, every August. So look into the skies now. You get to look at the Perseid meteor shower. That seems the most interesting thing. And of course, we keep watching the solar stuff. And we talked about this the last 3 weeks. There is something still happening geocosmically in terms of volcanic activity and all this other cool stuff. And earthquakes, like that big earthquake up in Alaska about a week or so back. So there's stuff you got to pay attention to. The question is this going to affect your personal safety, or is it going to affect the stock market? That's the issue. People say, who cares? As long as the stock market goes up, I don't care if meteors come down, right? So, I guess if the meteor did come down, they'd probably still try to rally the stock market.
Yes, the Perseid meteor shower usually happens around August 11th and 12th. And I bet you it'll be cloudy. It usually is here. We rarely get a clear sky for it. Mark, thank you so much for chatting with us.
It's always fun. Thank you so much, Jim. Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
My guest has been Mark Leibovit, editor and publisher of the Leibovit VR newsletters, also known as VRtrader.com. He was speaking to us from Arizona. If you have any questions for Mark or any of our other guests, you can send them to info@HowStreet.com. Our YouTube channel is Talk Digital Network. Find us on Twitter @HowStreet. We're also on Facebook. I'm Jim Goddard. Thank you for listening.
Comments made on HowStreet.com radio are an expression of opinion only and should not be construed in any matter whatsoever as recommendations to buy or sell any financial instrument at any time. Available online at TalkDigitalNetwork.com. HowStreet.com radio is a production of HowStreet Media Incorporated.